we need to talk about the photos. You know the ones? It's January 2026, and just when the world thought they had the Sussex story figured out, the internet exploded. There is a man standing next to Meghan Markle. He's there at Paris Fashion Week. He's there at the exclusive parties. He is even there at Disneyland walking right beside her children. But here is the thing that should make the hair on the back of your neck stand up in many of these photos. Prince Harry is nowhere to be found. Or if he is, he looks like a complete stranger in his own marriage. For years, people whispered about the mystery man in the background. They called him a friend, a confidant, an assistant. But the recent leaks and the body language tell a completely different story. This isn't just a friend, this is Marcus Anderson. And if you peel back the layers of his relationship with Meghan, you realize he isn't just a bystander in the royal drama. He is the architect of it, the man who controls who gets in, who gets out, and perhaps who stays silent. Buckle up, because the story of Meghan Markle isn't a fairy tale about a prince. It's a business deal about a fixer. To understand why this relationship is so bizarre, you have to understand the world Marcus Anderson built. He isn't some random guy from Toronto. He is the global membership director of Soho House. Now, to the average person, that sounds like a fancy hotel manager title. It is not. Soho House is the most exclusive private members network on the planet. We are talking about locations in London, New York, LA, places where billionaires and Oscar winners go to hide. But here is the catch. Money cannot buy you a way in. You can't just flash a credit card. You need sponsorship. You need approval. And for the better part of a decade, the man holding the rubber stamp was Marcus Anderson. He decides who is cool enough to enter and who gets left on the sidewalk. And he is ruthless. Nick Jones, the founder of Soho House, famously admitted they try not to give memberships to people who fuel paparazzi. Kim Kardashian denied. Kobe Bryant denied. Global superstars were told no because they brought too much heat. Yet somehow a cable TV actress from a show called Suits making $50,000 an episode didn't just get in, she was given the keys to the castle. How does a B-list actress get access that Kim Kardashian couldn't? The answer is the man standing next to her. Meghan didn't befriend a network. She befriended the gatekeeper. And that friendship gave her access to rooms filled with the kind of wealth and power she had only ever dreamed of. There is a very specific rule at Soho House that exposes the truth about Meghan's early days. Guests are allowed, but they must remain by the members' side at all times. If you look at the history of Meghan's appearances at these clubs, Toronto, London, LA, she is never photographed alone. She is never just sitting there reading a book. She is glued to Marcus Anderson's side. Why? Because she likely wasn't a member. She was his permanent plus one. This wasn't a social hangout. This was a strategic launchpad. Marcus Anderson, a man who started as a waiter and clawed his way up to be the right-hand man of a billion-dollar empire, recognized ambition when he saw it. He became her guide. And this is where the timeline gets interesting. We are told the story of a blind date with Prince Harry. A magical, serendipitous moment where the stars aligned. But real life isn't a Disney movie. Royal biographer Katie Nicole documented what actually happened. Harry approached Marcus Anderson. He asked the King of Clubs to set up a meeting. This wasn't chance, it was a transaction. It happened in a private room at Soho House, London, July 2016. Marcus arranged the logistics, cleared the room, and ensured total privacy. He wasn't just a friend making an intro, he was a fixer facilitating a merger. Fast forward to the photos that have everyone talking. If Marcus was just the matchmaker, his job should have ended at the wedding. He should be a distant memory, a footnote in the biography. Instead, he is front and center, and the body language is screaming things that words can't. Let's look at the Invictus Games, September 2017. This was supposed to be Harry and Meghan's big public debut. But look at the seating arrangement. Meghan is sitting there, knees practically bumping into Marcus, gazing at him with this huge beaming smile. And Harry, he's sitting on the other side, staring into the distance, looking miserable. He looks like the third wheel on his own date. Then look at the recent photos from Paris Fashion Week in October 2025. Meghan and Marcus aren't just walking side by side, they are holding hands. Not the polite arm-in-arm link you see with casual friends. Interlocked fingers. The kind of intimacy reserved for partners. Social media went into meltdown for a reason. Does no one else find this weird? Where is the husband? Why is the fixer holding her hand in the romantic capital of the world? It gets even stranger. In June 2025, during a family trip to Disneyland for Lilibet's birthday, Marcus is there again, but when Meghan posted the photos, she put a heart emoji over his face. Why, if he is the godfather, the best friend, the uncle? Why hide him? You hide things you don't want people to investigate. You hide things that you know look suspicious. If you want to see the cracks in the facade, you just have to look at Paris Fashion Week in October 2025. Meghan showed up to the Balenciaga show, a bold move given the brand's own recent controversies, but it was what happened during the show that lit up the message boards. There is a moment caught on camera that the mainstream media glossed over, but body language experts are having a field day with. A model stumbles slightly on the runway. It's a tense moment. The entire front row remains stoic, professional, respectful. Except for Meghan. She bursts into this awkward, performative giggle. She turns to Marcus, seemingly looking for validation for a shared joke. But look at Marcus. He doesn't laugh. He doesn't smile. He stares straight ahead, cold as ice, completely ignoring her attempt to bond. It was a humiliating moment that revealed the true power dynamic. He isn't there to be her gal pal and giggle at models. He is there to work. He is there to manage the asset. The real husband comments flooded X, formerly Twitter, not just because they were holding hands later, but because in that moment, he looked like a disappointed manager handling a client who went off script. Now, we have to touch on the darkest rumor on the internet. It is one of those theories that sounds crazy until you look at the timeline and suddenly the hairs on your arms stand up. Why is this former waiter from Canada so untouchable? Why does he have this level of access to the royal family? Internet sleuths have dug into Marcus Anderson's origins, and they found a bizarre coincidence. Marcus was born in Peterborough, Ontario, in 1978. Do you know who was spending a significant amount of time in Peterborough, Ontario, in 1977 and 1978, attending Lakefield College, Prince Andrew? I know it sounds like a stretch. But this rumor has persisted for years because it offers the only logical explanation for why a commoner from Canada was allowed to breeze into the inner circles of British aristocracy long before Meghan arrived. And it is a massive, if Marcus has some form of illegitimate connection to the royals or simply holds secrets about the randy-andy years in Canada, it explains why the palace never shut him down. It explains why he operates with such immunity. He isn't just a gatekeeper for Soho House. He might be a vault for royal secrets that go back decades. We also need to talk about how these photos actually get out. Meghan constantly complains about privacy, about the intrusion of the press, yet notice how the photos of her and Marcus are always crystal clear. They are never blurry long lens shots from a bush. They are high-definition, perfectly lit, walking down the street shots. Insiders point to a specific connection, Gisal Parshodam. He is a photographer who claimed to have built a relationship with Meghan over 8 months before the Harry news even broke. The theory is that Marcus Anderson, with his background in club promotion, acts as the producer. He coordinates the leaks. He sets the stage. Think about the Disneyland trip in June 2025. It's a private family vacation. Yet we have perfect shots of them. Who coordinates that Harry, who is obsessed with security and hates the press, or Marcus, the man whose entire career is built on publicity and being seen in the right places? When you see a stolen moment of Meghan and Marcus, you aren't seeing a breach of privacy. You are seeing a press release. Critics have started using a harsh word to describe Marcus's presence in the Sussex's life, a parasite. It's harsh, but let's look at the evidence. Lady C, a prominent royal author, claims that Harry is trapped. She quotes sources saying Harry has to go along with whatever is suggested. And who is doing the suggesting? Marcus has been at the baby shower in New York, the wedding, the private vacations. He is described by insiders as the second most important man in Meghan's life. Think about that phrasing. Second most important. That places him above her own father, above her brother, above every other connection she has. Nick Jones, the founder of Soho House, knows exactly what is going on. He stepped down as CEO after a health scare, but he remains the eyes and ears of the operation. He knows every private room Meghan entered, every deal that was discussed, and every introduction Marcus made. But Nick Jones stays silent. Why? Because Soho House sells one thing above all else: discretion. If the world knew how the sausage was made, how a cable actress used their club to snare a prince, the brand's reputation for privacy would be shattered. So the silence protects the brand, but it also protects Meghan. We need to talk about what actually happens inside these clubs. Babington House, where Marcus arranged early dates for Harry and Meghan, isn't just a country retreat. Insiders have described the atmosphere as edgy. It is a place where networking goes beyond business cards. It is a place where relationships are currency. There is a theory floating around that explains why Harry looks so uncomfortable in these photos. Imagine realizing that the foundation of your marriage was a strategic play. Imagine realizing that your wife's best friend was actually her handler. Marcus Anderson's entire career is built on knowing what wealthy people want and giving it to them. He connected Meghan to Ron Burkle, a billionaire investor. He connected her to Misha Nono. He connected her to Jessica Mulroney. Every single stepping stone in Meghan's rise to power has Marcus Anderson's fingerprints on it. And now, years after they left the royal family, years after they supposedly sought privacy, Marcus is still there. He wasn't in the Netflix documentary. He stays out of the interviews. He operates in the shadows. That is the behavior of someone who holds the cards. That is the behavior of an insurance policy. So, why is he still around? Why in 2026 is he holding her hand in Paris? The answer might be the most disturbing part of all. Marcus Anderson knows where the bodies are buried. He knows the truth about the yacht girl rumors that have plagued Meghan for years. He knows exactly who she met when she met them and what was exchanged in those private Soho House rooms before Harry ever came along. If Meghan were to cut him off, if she were to try and distance herself, what stops him from talking? He isn't on her payroll in a traditional sense. He is a powerful executive in his own right. He doesn't need her money. That makes him dangerous. He is the one person in her life she cannot control, so she has to keep him close. Harry, on the other hand, has burned every bridge he has. He left his father, he fought with his brother, he isolated himself from his oldest friends. He is alone on an island, and the only other people on that island are Meghan and Marcus. It's a claustrophobic reality. If he pushes back against Marcus, he questions the validity of his entire marriage. He questions the meet cute. He questions the loyalty of his wife, so he stays silent, staring into the distance in photos, while his wife holds hands with the man who made her a duchess. When you look at the trajectory from cable TV to Kensington Palace to the Montecito Mansion, it is a masterclass in social climbing. And the guide on that mountain was Marcus Anderson. But everything comes with a price. The viral photos of 2025 and 2026 are a wake-up call. They show us that the past isn't dead. The connections that brought Meghan into the spotlight are the chains that still bind her today. She may have the title, she may have the fame, but as long as the man from Soho House is hovering in the background, you have to ask yourself who is actually running the show. Harry might be the prince, but looking at these photos, it's becoming terrifyingly clear that he might just be another guest in Marcus Anderson's club. And in Soho House, the house always wins. Princess Diana famously said, "There were 3 of us in this marriage, so it was a bit crowded." She was talking about Camilla. But history has a funny way of repeating itself. Harry left the UK to escape the men in grey suits who controlled his life. He wanted freedom. But looking at the evidence, the Paris hand-holding, the constant Soho House chaperoning, the body language that screams manager and client, it looks like Harry just traded one set of handlers for another. He didn't escape the system, he just moved to a different branch. The viral photos of late 2025 aren't just gossip. They are the smoking gun of a partnership that predates the prince and seems destined to outlast him. Meghan Markle may be the Duchess of Sussex, but as long as Marcus Anderson is standing in the frame, we have to ask, is Harry the husband, or is he just the most famous member Marcus ever signed up? Because in the end, kings and queens come and go. But the gatekeeper, he stays forever.